What's up, everyone? Happy Saturday, happy Valentine's Day for those who are celebrating it. Welcome back to Congo Unfiltered, powered by Friends of the Congo. We are live on YouTube, we are live on Facebook, and trying to be live right now on Instagram, and we live, and also on X. So, welcome. Today, we're going to talk about a briefing that caused a lot, a lot of debate, a lot of attention, especially because an expert from the Congo Civil Society, essentially went in front of the U.S. political body and said that yes, Rwanda is involved in the Congo, but Rwanda isn't the main driver destabilizing the DRC. I'm only paraphrasing what was said. Um, and that's to really provide context. That was kind of like part two of that hearing, or that committee was advancing peace in DRC and Rwanda through President Trump's Washington Accord, part two. And he there is online right now, and I'm actually was skimming through it, and it has been posted because everything is public records once you testify at the House or the Senate. And we have here his testimony, and I'm talking about Mr. Christian Gero Neema, really great guy, super smart, super intelligent, and that has been fighting for for years, just speaking out about what's going on. So but people heard what he was saying, what he said, and they were like, "Wait, what?" So what actually happened? What did he mean? And what are the political consequences of saying what he said in Washington, essentially that Rwanda is not the main driving force destabilizing the Congo? And uh, we are talking about that at the moment when the US is really deepening this US DRC strategic partnership. And we have been talking about that for weeks, for months now. And we are going to break it down calmly with nuance, but also with clarity today again. And today I'm joined with a really good friends that I actually met online on X, and we become a really good folks debating all the time off records. And I was like, let me bring him on Congo Unfiltered. So and my friend is a software engineer. He's a software engineer, and he's a UIUC alumnus, born and raised in the DRC. He's dedicated to participating in the building of a new Congolese society by focusing on the technical and structural realities of what's happening back home, treating the conflicts as a system being internationally sabotaged rather than political puzzles. So he has also been very, 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 very outspoken online on X, and that's why I always enjoy having conversations with him about the Congo, about what's going on. And today I told myself that I was going to bring our little debates and conversations to you guys, so that we can have a different perspective, right, of what other people are thinking or saying, other Congolese folks are thinking and saying, Congolese and diaspora particularly are thinking and saying what's going on and how the issue is being solved. So he's going to help us understand the hearing, the controversy, and what all of these means for the Congo. So before we go and put him on, I'm going to play the video right now.
Third, I'd like to us to broaden our focus in this conflict. While Rwanda's interference in Eastern DRC is real and must be stopped, there's no debate about that. However, Rwanda is not the primary drivers of Congo instability. Stopping Rwanda alone does not solve the issue of proliferation of armed groups in the DRC, being like the ADF. The ADF has been killing hundreds of people almost on a weekly basis, but almost unreported, or having the Codeco, the Red Tabara, or the Wazalendo, the Mobondo, at the outskirts of Kinshasa. It will not solve the profound governance failure, corruptions, and weak institutions which allow these groups to regenerate and this conflict to re-emerge after a few years. For more than 20 years, these weaknesses have been the real drivers of instability in the country. Until they are addressed properly, peace agreement will remain fragile. The instability in Eastern DRC
All right. Let me bring on said John. How you doing?
Pretty good. Thank you for inviting me. I mean, as you said, we got like into a lot of debates, like privately. I
Yes.
remember, I mean, pretty much after the first time we met online, we had like those long calls, 2 hours calls, talking about what the government should have been doing, what the
Yes.
government is failing to do, and stuff like that. So it was about time to bring all of this, I guess, in a public forum. So I thank you again for giving me the opportunity to give my 2 cents. And I just want to start by saying, like, unlike our experts, I mean, sure, I'm no expert. I'm just a Congolese guy who's like full of opinions and ideas, and I'm just here to give my 2 cents on this.
Yes, yes, and we love to hear what the perspective of other fellow Congolese on issues on the Congo, because that's what was lacking, I think, and we discussed that with couple weeks ago with Claude Gatebuke and Neil Skinwani that were on the show, and we were essentially criticizing how this hearing usually typically happen. Like the Republicans were really focusing on on the economic aspects of the
Mm-hmm.
deal, the money part, the minerals, the supply chain. The Democrats were talking about the humanitarian aspect of it,
Aspect of it, yeah.
but both political parties, that's what we noticed, excluded Congolese voices from the drafting of the accords or the different strategic partnership, to even testifying that for the very first one, the part one, there was supposed to be Fred Boma, I believe, that was supposed to testify, and he ended up not doing it. For what reason, we don't know. So it was kind of interesting to have for part two, yes, somebody that came from the civil society, and I'm putting that in quotation mark, civil
Yes, please
society.
do. Please do put
Yes,
on
because
quotation.
there are a lot of things. Like Mr. Giro, I have a lot of respect for him. He's been really involved in different organizations, international organizations, doing a lot of tremendous work to understand the geopolitics with situation with China and stuff like that. Really great. But what I've seen, and I actually wasn't aware of that apparently in the last election, maybe it was the last election
In
or the one before
2018, I
that.
think that's what it's very important for us to bring that on the table, because if we want to give to your audience as much context as possible, we need to emphasize the on the quotation part, like independent civil society and so on and so forth, because I'm having a hard time considering someone who has a, I don't want to talk about like the success or the failure of the political campaign, but uh, someone who has, he ran as a I mean he was running for Congress seat in I don't want to say Funa, maybe I'm wrong about the exact district, but it was under the banner of a current major political actor who is Moise Katumbi, right? So I think we have to be very clear about biases that I might have as well, right? Biases, because I will probably talk about my own biases during this call. The most important thing is to put those biases in front so that other people can integrate them in their analysis when they listen to this conversation. So yes, he did run on the Moise Katumbi's banner in 2018. Um, yes, Moise Katumbi has also been a major player in this peace peace deal slash economic deal between the Democratic Republic of Congo and America. I mean, I think it's clear that his political party has tried. I don't want to use the term sabotage because it's um, it's it's kind of subjective, but I think it's fair to say that his political party has tried to redirect the discussion toward a dialogue when there will be part of it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you
Are
know.
you talking about Moise Katumbi's
Yeah,
party,
it's
political party?
political part, yes. So knowing that context, I think it's important for your audience to also understand where our experts might be coming from. You know what I mean? Because it's hard for me to accept the fact that someone who's like part of the civil society will
But that was in 2018. Come on, that was in 2018.
okay, what do you mean? What do you mean it was in 2018?
Probably
2018
he's
is
no
literally
longer part of the ensemble for of
no, that's
Moise
very
Katumbi.
true.
That was
But
in 2018.
just because just because he had a failed like political run doesn't mean that we should not question his biases in order to understand the overall picture. So that I
Mm,
think for the benefit of your audience, this should be brought on the table so that
okay.
everybody has a clear understanding of what might have happened or be behind curtains. That's all I'm gonna say, at least for the introduction of this talk.
And another thing that you said, and I really want you to kind of like dissect. So you said that Moise Katumbi is being redirecting the conversation, and I was actually on the space a few weeks ago with some friends I also met online on X, and I was like, I've never heard Moise Katumbi condemn M23, and they fact checked me. They was like, no, that's not true. He did on TV5, and they showed me the video, and I heard Moise Katumbi, presidential candidate at the time, condemning the M23, condemning what they were doing. So now, fast forwards, I'm really wondering on what basis are you saying that Moise Katumbi's political party has been redirecting the attention to different things? So what do you mean by that? Can you
Yeah,
kind of
what I
like,
mean by that
yeah.
is when the civil society, since we are bringing them in this discussion,
Mm-hmm.
the civil society is complex, it's big. I don't think we can point out to an instance like, hey, these people represent the quote unquote civil society, but many people, ever since Goma was captured by M23 slash RDF, many people, part of this civil society, have tried their best to, bring attention to the issue, trying to contact uh, uh, not local authorities, but people in Congress.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about Congolese people living in America, and I'm assuming even for those living in the European Union, they try to do the same thing. Uh, so the main focus, I would say, was to put as much pressure on Rwanda for them to leave the country. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
tell me if I'm wrong. That was the main focus of what I would consider as the civil society. And by civil society, I don't think you need like a membership card to be recognized as civil society. I mean, you part of civil society because you're not part of the Congolese government. You're not part of any political parties. You don't have any tie to any political parties. So I think you 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 count as one of them, right? I would say I count as well as one of them because I wasn't involved again in any political party and so on and so forth. And alongside my other Congolese friends, and we tried our best to put as much pressure on Congress, just like you did, like many people did. So yes, the goal was that particular goal, right? Putting a lot of pressure on it, on Congress, so that they can pressure Rwanda, just like the United States did in 2013.
Mm-hmm.
But during all these, I guess, all these events, I think it's pretty clear that his party had another idea. Like for them, I'm assuming. I mean, I don't want to put words in their mouth, but for them, maybe the goal was not to pressure um, um, Rwanda to leave the country. Maybe, maybe not. But for them, it was, hey, we need to have like a dialogue among Congolese. So including, can you hear me? Among
Yeah, I can
Congolese,
hear you.
including the AFC, the AFC, which is the political branch of M23. I think that's been official, right? That's how they
Mm-hmm.
introduce themselves. Um, so we want to have a political dialogue among us Congolese, so that we can find a peaceful solution for the war. So to
Yeah.
me, that's why I mean by redirecting
Mm.
toward that when the when most of the focus of the civil society, I would say, was pressuring Rwanda to leave the country. So that's what I meant by that. I don't know if I was
So
able to
yeah,
make.
I get that, and the reason why I brought you on stage and I wanted to have this conversation with you because I think the way you thinking is uh really like super narrow. Like in when you're trying to understand the issue of the Congo, we talking about 3 decades of aggression, and there is a comments here, diaspora here. Rwanda is involved in Congo, but isn't the main driver is a correct statement. The Congolese government is very troubled and divisive. They are they are very ineffective as well. The country is a mess right now. That's our the future that is speaking. And the reason why I wanted to have this conversation with you to kind of like really break down what's going on,
Yeah,
so that we have an overview, understanding what's going on, but also at the same time, maybe we can find a common ground. And I know we
yeah.
really didn't last time we talked on the
I
phone.
mean, to be fair, we always find a common ground after hours of debating. Let's,
Yes.
you know what I mean, like
Yeah.
and I understand. So I want to preface my I guess my introduction by saying that no serious person in the Congolese political arena is gonna deny the fact that Congo has a serious record of government malfunctioning. You know what I mean? Like nobody's gonna deny that fact. We have a
Are you sure if
corrupt.
we ask question to Felix Tshisekedi or one of his
I mean,
peers, they're not gonna say that. They're not gonna
yeah.
deny.
To be fair, I think we can catch him in his own lies by just playing a video of himself saying that book. I think. Wait, did he say Mboka Ekufa Nango, something like that? That
I
was
don't
his
know.
words. So if you want to deny that, I will literally play that video of himself acknowledging that part. So, you know, as much as it can be like a political animal trying to deny, deflect, sometimes his own words will testify against his political stance. So yeah, anyway, so that's what I was trying to say. So nobody denies it. We have I mean, I was born in 1993. I guess my political awakening happened 2010, 2011.
What
I was
happened?
well, my family. I mainly grew up in Kasai and Katanga, and my parents are like, I would say, middle class ish. I mean, I don't, if we can even call middle class in Congo. I don't even think it exists. But uh, uh, so when we moved back to Kinshasa, all of my friends were lucky enough to find like a scholarship in the West or in South Africa. So I had to settle down with the next best thing, which is the University of Kinshasa, doing my studies in Polytechnic, and I was shocked by what I saw in Kinshasa. You know, I came from a small town, I would say, from Lubumbashi. It's smaller when you compare to Kinshasa. And then the first time uh, we we uh, we settled down in Kinshasa, I think our house was in Masina, uh, and I was like, "What the heck is going on in this country? Like that, this is unreal." What is transportation? Le cafouillage dans les bus, whatever,
Traffic jams and stuff.
traffic jam, right? All of that, like, kind of like, oh, we don't live in a normal country. So that's when I got interested in politics. So why are we as Congolese people letting these people making our life not better? I want to use another bad word, but we are. I think it's like PG-13 here.
Unfiltered.
So yeah. Oh well, I don't know. You don't want to put me in that spot. So
Okay.
that's when my political awakening like happened. So yes, I am the last person who's gonna come here and say, hey, the first reason our country is not going well. I mean, I'm not going to come here and say the Congolese government. By Congolese government, I put the different regimes that we had from Mobutu to Muse, Kabila the father, Kabila the son, and Kabila the evil spirit. I mean, sorry, Tshisekedi, I would say. So, yeah, I'm not gonna pretend as if
Okay.
they have no part in the disaster that we're living. But at the same time, we have to be factual with what's currently happening. To me, growing up, for example, in 2011, I remember asking my teachers or my father, like, what the hell is brassage, for example? Because that was like the first time for me to hear that, and explain me, I mean, if they just didn't explain me, but even after some research, you realize, like, yeah, because a rebel movement has quote unquote won the war on the ground, they will now impose you terms of surrender as a country.
Mhm.
And among those terms of surrendering, they will mix their militias, rebel movement within the official FARDC ranks, right? So now, so now, for people who are not, I'm sure everybody's aware of that, but for those who are not aware of this, it's like you're creating kind of a dual loyalty within your army. Instead of the
Yeah.
army um, solely working for the protection of Congolese lives against foreign entities, we now have a situation where um, within the army, there is a faction coming from the outside, having ties with foreign entities, and they will obviously have a loyalty toward that group. So take that context and apply that with the security context of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Now you want the army to somehow, I mean, I have no love for the Congolese army, but you want them to I guess pretend, if I have to use that term, to
Mhm.
care for Congolese integrity while fighting within their own ranks with people who might have dual loyalty towards some foreign entities. I think it's kind of, and I know our expert knows that, and I was really shocked that for someone of this intelligence, as you said, I mean, I didn't say that, but as you said, for someone as this intelligence, and someone of this um, political experience, that was kind of a easy point to bring up, right? And I think I read one of his back and forth with a friend of mine on X, with Jackson, and he said he tried to use this as a gotcha moment, like, hey, buddy, tell me, between 2013 and 2020, was there any other brassage or something like that? Knowing that there was before that there was a SNDP already like integrated the army, so pretending that just because the M23 was defeated, quote unquote, defeated in 2013, and there wasn't any brassage, did that didn't? I mean, it's like it's trying to wipe away the long decade of military distraction, right?
Mhm.
Of the FARDC, and he tried to use that as a gotcha moment. I think that was quite disingenuous of his part to do that, and that's why I'm very. I was really disappointed because here is a man. Okay, let's not talk about the man. Let's talk about the
So,
the
let me
testimony.
ask you this: Are
Here's the
you?
testimony.
Do you think the backlash is because people, and including you, you think that he downplayed Rana's role, or because he said that in Washington?
Oh, I think it's because one, it downplayed Rwanda's role. Because factually speaking, think, think about this, Gaëtan. Right now, we have 7 million people displaced. You cannot tell me that those 7 million people displaced are a direct consequence of. I'm talking about direct consequence, right? I'm not talking about like let's make a philosophical analysis or whatever. No, no. You cannot tell me that those 7 million people are not a direct consequence of a military invasion in our country, like Rwanda. We cannot deny that fact, right? So when someone is here to provide his testimony in front of whatever body is in front of, he should at least bring that up, right, in terms of direct consequences, and not try to
Mhm.
downplay Rwanda's like action by hiding behind the failures of our government that we all know, that we all agree with, and we all fight against. I mean, at least
I,
online and
I'm
whatever.
gonna tell you what. I'm gonna tell you this: that, and just to hold on that one framework, right?
Yeah.
The one question that you ask, whether or not he downplaying Rwanda, and you do think that he downplaying Rwanda.
Wait, sorry. Do you
Rwanda's
think it
role.
downplay right now, or you don't?
I think that's why I'm trying to clarify by giving kind of like Friends of the Congo position, because the issue of the M23 today cannot only be looking, and that's my point of view, cannot just be looking at in 2026 or 2025. We're talking
100%.
about 3 decades of invasion. You use the word invasion,
100%.
but it wasn't just Rwanda, right? And that's the position
Uganda.
of Friends of the Congo, because the Friends of the
100%.
Congo, that this is the thing that we keep teaching, we keep educating people on, that there is a 4 dimensions of the oppression of the Congo. Why we are calling for a free Congo? It's because Congo is being oppressed in 4 dimensions. The first one is the external forces that you have, and that's very important, because maybe I'm gonna end with the external forces. We have the internal forces. We have the Congolese political and military elites, corruption. You have state capture of aid, of money, of funds. You have governance failure. You have
That's
impunity.
right.
You have injustice.
That's
That
right.
is one force. The second is, and that's what we're talking about, Rwanda, the regional forces. And we really emphasize, and we say regional forces, because we do understand that those countries, the neighborhood countries, are used or have been used as proxies to destabilize the Congo for decades now. You have the dynamic with Rwanda, with Uganda, with Burundi, and you also have armed groups. And now, recently, you also have somehow the appetite of even Kenya, right?
Kenya. Yeah.
Yes, the appetite of Kenya hosting what will become the AFC. Like, they are literally getting a
I mean,
meeting. Can you just
cash before
imagine?
that, an FC.
Can you just imagine? I cannot even imagine, because that was a fact. Iraq was invaded, quote unquote, nuclear weapons, yes. But at first,
That was the lie, by the way.
that was a lie, yes. But
That's
they
a
were
lie.
first accusing Iraq and even Afghanistan later of essentially harboring terrorists or working with the Taliban, the terrorists, or being somehow behind the 9/11 attack.
Yeah.
So just that suspicion, you know, oh, Osama bin Laden is in Afghanistan, we're gonna go and invade the country, and
And
they
invade
did
the
that.
country.
So for a country like Kenya, and that's literally that was extremely serious, and I don't understand how until today that was not handled properly. That a foreign government is hosting a group of Congolese folks that are openly threatened to invade, to destabilize, to rebel, to take weapons against another country. And in the name of free speech, that was President Ruto, who was essentially, saying that it's okay, it's free speech, right? But to me, that was insane. So you have that regional forces that the Friends of the Congo recognize with all those neighborhood countries, and you look at Congo, how rich the Congo is. Obviously, you're gonna have countries around surrounding the Congo that will just want to come in and just continue to plunder, right?
Wait,
But you
so
also have them, yes. I
I
want
have
to
a
finish the
question.
4 dimensions. I want to finish the 4 dimension
All
real
right,
quick.
sorry, yeah.
And then we also have the multinationals, that you have the corporate supply chains, and they really want to continue with the mining, the trading, the smuggling. They are creating that network to allow the clean tech economy to be built on violence, on Congolese body, on Congolese corpse. And that's the multinational work. And you can see the way they are actually rolling down the carpet, or the system, or trying to implement the what they have in the Congo. When you have Orion, you have all these companies, Glencore, involving human rights abuses, involving displacing civilians in their homes, involving corruption, involving into a lot of things that are really fishy or illegal, I would say. But somehow they get rewarded in a deal that the United States is putting forward. And talking about the United States, and that's the third and the fourth dimension that we talk about, that we cannot ignore. It's the external forces, the powerful Western foreign states, and the policy, mostly and mainly Anglo-Saxon countries.
Yeah.
You have the United States, you have the United Kingdom, you have Canada. Canada. I've been in Canada for a week, and how they
Nice
have
Canada.
somehow, yes, and how they have somehow be involved into what the Congo is today. They structure it like the very first president to recognize Congo Free State, which is a blueprint of what we see in the Washington Accord, where the Congo is just going to be this vast land where countries would just come and
And
plant and
trade
mine.
as free as possible.
Yes, but the very first president of the Berlin Conference to recognize Congo Free State as a personal property of King Leopold
Leopoldo.
II was the president of the United States, Grover Cleveland. So
Yep.
you can see how they structure diplomacy, security, cooperation, even and extraction incentives. So to me, it's kind of like funny because it really goes back to having to even, doing this hearing at the
Can I?
United States Congress. Then when you put that into perspective, those four dimensions that I mentioned, the external force, the internal forces, internal forces, multinationals, and then the
Yeah.
inter
Yeah. Yeah.
and then did I miss something? And then the regional forces. Then you see that Rwanda in the 60, I would say 65, 66 years of existence of the Congo
It's the
are
beast
really
of the. Yeah.
200,
Yeah.
200 years since if you have to go all the way back, maybe to the Congo Free State or even before.
1885.
Yes, you will even see that Rwanda is really, 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 really a tiny portion of it. And if we have to stay in a context, in current, like the current context of the Congo, I personally do not think that you put Congo or you put Rwanda out of the equation, that suddenly people who have the control, Congolese people who have the control of their own affairs, of the lands, of the minerals. I don't think that. But I wanted to pause that and maybe you
Sorry,
wanted
sorry,
to
sorry.
respond. Yeah,
I
go
just
ahead.
want to react to what you just said.
Yeah.
You know, about the position of Friends of the Congo. I mean, this is the analysis that a, how did you introduce him as the civil society member? That was the analysis that a civil society member should have brought to the committee, right? Because you brought like the overall context in terms of regional forces, internal forces, and also international forces and cooperation. That was the part that missed in his testimony, right? In his testimony, right? So you cannot tell me. I mean, you build the case even for me, right? If that person was truly a member of the civil society and he wanted to give like his fairest testimony as possible, he should have brought every single piece of this multi-complex whatever issue that's killing the Congo right now. But that wasn't the case. So because it wasn't the case, it's now our role to understand why someone as intelligent as him, as you introduce him, someone as intelligent as him, missed those critical parts, especially the role of the United States, right? You are testifying in front of a Congress subcommittee. If you do not bring that up, I have to question your motives behind it. And I think this is the best way for us to now bring up another aspect of the whole. You have to testify in front of Congress and whatever. I think you and I had this private. I don't know if you want to bring that up here, but uh,
It's okay.
it's like is there some kind of censorship that the guest has to impose upon themselves, right? When they are in front of Congress. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I'm invited in front of Congress to talk about this particular subject. How free should I be, right? Especially
Mm.
if I qualify myself as a member of civil society. Am I gonna have the balls to question America's implication in this particular topic? Am I gonna have the courage to bring up the overall structure down? So because he failed to do that, the conversation should no longer, at least to me, the conversation should. Okay, I don't want to be extreme. I don't want to say the conversation should no longer be about was he right, but to me, because he failed to address the absolute truth about Congo's downfall, now the conversation should be why did he put aside those important. Sorry.
Yeah,
Why
go
did
ahead.
he
Yeah.
why did he put aside those important context? because if you do not bring the overall context, you're not telling the truth. I'm sorry, because you can lie even by saying the truth, even by saying no, you can lie even by saying a part of the truth. You know what I mean? And the fact that he didn't bring the whole context on the table, that's one, and also the fact that he put a hierarchy between because he only brought two pieces on the table, right? The internal affair and the regional affair, because he set aside the others and put a hierarchy between a wrong hierarchy, I would say. At least the analysis of Friend of Congo, from what I understood, at least from what I just heard you say, is like you do not kind of put some kind of hierarchy between all those different pieces, right? But him, but the way, well, when we heard him talk, not only he put a hierarchy, he put the wrong one, the wrong order by saying, "Yeah, it's all right. It's mainly because of Congolese internal affairs, corruption, and all of that. Rwanda is not like the main driver." Come on, man. So that's where the discussion should be. Why should a civil society analysis of Congo's destruction omit very important part of the equation? And now we have to understand what might be the reason behind that. So that's what I
Okay.
want to say. Yeah.
Hold that thought, because then, just for the audience, what do you think his main thesis uh, uh, was, and what he wanted the Congress to walk away with? What do you think it was?
So I think he wanted the. Do, are you allowing me to
Just Congo Unfiltered, go
be
ahead.
in to do some
Just
conspiracy
go ahead.
theorist thing? I mean, I love
No, go
conspiracy.
ahead. Be free.
And I mean, this. I mean, what I'm gonna say now, it's not based in fact or whatever. That's like my, you know,
Your
you asked me
opinion.
like for my personal opinion, right? Right.
Exactly. Yeah, go ahead.
So you can still challenge me, but just understand that this is because we don't know. Think about this. Before I say my piece, I want everybody to keep in mind that we don't know how, now based on what that person was chosen to put that testimony. I mean, he was called to be like a mining expert, and somehow it dwelled into politics and whatever. It makes sense. Mining and policies and politics can go hand to hand, but that was the first thing that kind of got my attention. I was like, oh, what are we doing here? But anyway, so because we don't know the decisions behind closed door that brought him on the stage, I think to me we are looking at a way of kind of what's the term, alleviating, what's the English term when you want to lighten someone's burden, you know.
Unburden.
I guess, yeah, let's use that one. So
Hmm.
you're looking at someone trying to unburden the burden that we have, that Rwanda currently
That
has.
Rwanda has. Okay.
But because right now Rwanda is under so much pressure and fire. I think if you had told Kagame 3 years from now, you know, when they're like plotting against Congo, you know, Mr. President, I think 2 years from now, I mean, we were successful in taking over Goma in 2013, but I think this time around we might face some international pressure, like calls of boycotting Rwanda and whatever. It would probably kill whoever's gonna, you know, whoever would bring that up, because to him,
It's
Rwanda,
crazy.
Rwanda is at least Rwanda had reached a level of, I guess, admiration in the national sphere to a degree that I've rarely seen for African countries. You have freaking Bill Clinton introducing Kagame as one of the greatest leaders of our time. Like, come on, man. Like, why? Like, based on what? It's factually wrong. I mean, anyway, so because Rwanda was under such tremendous fire, right? You had like Rwanda being forced to leave Uvira, leave Uvira. You have Rwanda. Uh, they saw the different. I believe which contract they kept the Visit Rwanda contract with PSG, but I believe the one they had with Look, I'm not a soccer guy. I'm a tennis fan, so I forgot the name of that team. That
I will
German.
always judge you for watching tennis
I know, I
instead of
know.
turning to the World Cup or the Champions League. What's wrong with you, man?
Yo, trust me, Roland
Anyways,
Garros is much better than whatever that sport you guys are playing. But that's a discussion for another day. But so they lost those countries and all of that. Now you have someone who has the opportunity to speak in front of this international, in front of this body, which is a subcommittee for African affairs, whatever. You have two choices. Either you take the risk of being as truthful as possible by even mentioning America, or you make sure at least that, okay, fine, I'm going to remove those two separate aspects of the overall problem, but at least I'm going to be factual by emphasizing as well the role of the regional cause in the drama, right? So I'm going to emphasize the fact that currently we have 7 million people displaced, and that's directly because of M23 and Rwanda, for example, right? But he didn't do that, and that's why that day I was so triggered, because I was really triggered. I get triggered. Actually, I get triggered all the time, but that was even like more than usual, because I was like, "What the hell are we even doing here?" Right? It's like you're in front of the goalkeeper. You have a, how do you call it, penalty, right? And then what you do is like, oh, you passing the ball to the opponent team or something like that. Come on, man.
So let me ask you this. So when someone goes in Washington D.C., right, and to your words, and also I'm gonna also use our words, downplays, and I'm not gonna mention Rwanda, but the regional dimension in
Okay,
which Rwanda is.
I'll give you that.
What does that do? What does that do to the politics, do you think, right now? Like, what does it do
Well,
that you went to
well,
the commission and say what he said the way he said?
okay. So first of all, what it gives for at least to man, even mention America, right? We didn't even mention America in the overall issue, right? I mean, he didn't
Mhm.
mention America and the corporations and all of that. The fact that he didn't mention that, it gives America the possibility to come as a savior. Like, hey, I mean, you did not accuse us as being part of this mess. So
Mm.
I'm gonna drive my political agenda as being the savior, and also coming with those cooperation that you did not bring I don't know if you understand what I mean, what I'm trying to say, right? Like, since
Mhm.
we didn't mention America or whatever those cooperation, well, I'm gonna come America as the savior with my cooperation buddies, and we're gonna enter the picture, right, to bring a solution. So that's the first leeway that it gives to Congress. And also, I want to come back to what you said at the beginning. You said when in front of those committees of committees, when it's like the Republican will try to mainly assess the economic aspect, and the
Mhm.
Democrats will mainly talk about like the humanitarian aspect. I think the third factor is also the fact that both of them will always find a way to, depending on who is in the White House, to portray the
The
president
country.
leading the party and the White House as a savior. And you can see Smith, in the case of Smith, like all these nice words, he was sucking up to Trump and whatever. So not bringing America in the full analysis of the Congolese drama, the Congolese crisis, gives them the leeway to hide and come with the heart of a savior. You know what I mean? That would be my
Yeah.
first answer. Yeah.
Yeah, and something I also wanted to point out that he did credit the Washington process, and to your point, for reestablishing clarity around Rwanda's responsibility, right? It's like, and he says that Rwanda can't credibly deny it anymore. So, I mean,
Okay.
do you actually agree that Washington has actually shifted anything?
No, and then I think that's a great way for us to bring our behind the door discussion to the public forum, because I know you and I, we had we have a lot of we believe in many things in common. We believe in many things in common, but one of the, I guess, the few contentions that we had was the fact that I am on the I am part of the, I would say, I don't want to use a camp, but let's just, for the sake of the argument, the camp of people who want to use this agreement as a way to stay alive for now, retreat and fight for tomorrow. You know, you on the other hand, you want to see the problem as more like, I guess your credit, I guess holistic. Like, hey, we cannot run toward America because they're part of the problem. I agree, I understand, but I think even after those 2 hours and 3 hours of calls that we had, I remember it was last year in January or February. You were this close from convincing me, right, to like join the ideology, you know. But to me,
Doing what?
I mean, it was, you know, after the no when you laid up, I mean, you brought during that call, you brought the Front of Congo like analysis, right? We have these blah 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 and all of that. To me, the thing that prevented me from you know, not taking the holistic approach way was the fact that I saw, you know, right after Goma was captured and all of that, we saw those reports about, you know, people being killed, women raped, those the whole Lala Chini thingy, right? You know, when those Rwandan will just whip Congolese, you know, and all of that. To me, watching all of that, I was like, no way, bro. Like, we have to do something. And if we have to find a way to either temporarily stop this madness or find a way to shift toward some other discussion, whatever, we have to grab on that opportunity. So to me, it's the reality on the ground that kind of puts me on the camp of those who saw the temporary peace deal. I guess I don't know if we can even call it a peace deal. It's not a peace deal, but
So
the
you
agreement
think
with
that the
America.
Washington Accord brought peace
No,
to the
no, not at
Congolese
all.
people? Okay.
No, because right now Rwanda is still occupying the lands.
Okay. That was
We
my
still
second
have
question. Do you think the
because no,
Congo is still
sorry,
occupied?
sorry,
Apparently
and
the answer
also
is yes, right?
sorry, what did you say?
My second question is, do you think the Congo is still occupied? And you just said that
Oh yeah,
Congo is
I
still under
mean,
Rwandan
yeah,
occupation.
it's still occupied, right? And
So
also
concretely, what the Washington
to
Accord has
open to
brought to the
open to
Congolese
open
people?
to open to open the Goma airport, the airport, they had to ask for freaking Rwandan's authorization. I think MONUSCO finally landed their plane there, and that was
Yes.
only possible because Kigali gave its
Yes, they are
approval.
the occupying force, just like in Israel. Israel gets to
Yeah,
decide who
what
gets
the hell?
in Gaza or not.
Yeah, what the
But
hell is
that's not
going
my
on?
point. My,
Yeah,
my point and my question was, do you agree that Washington has actually shifted anything? You started by saying no, but then
yeah,
you said that
yeah.
you were still, and that was our conversation from last year. You still believed fundamentally that the Congo had to do something. Because I never said don't do anything. I said we should organize. That's what I said. We should organize from the bottom up to really dismantle a system, because when Antonio Guterres is talking about, he said that we, the West, has systematically looted the Congo, and we also know as Congolese people the role they play, the role that Congolese government, that the elites played, and I mentioned those
Yeah.
four dimensions. So when I ask you the question, do you agree Washington has actually the Washington Accord or Washington has actually shifted anything? You started by your answer by saying no,
No, no,
but
no.
then
Wait. You asked no, no.
okay. Let me say that again on
You said
record.
this. Did
Do
you
you
say
agree?
something? Oh, wait.
Okay,
Sorry.
let me rephrase the
You
question to you
said you
then.
asked me the question. Did the Washington Accord, I guess,
Shifted.
well, you said yeah. You asked if Congo was free right after which I said
No,
no, right? And
no. Okay, let me ask you this question. This is recorded and it's live, bro.
okay,
But
fine. So
it's
and I
okay.
said
Let me ask you
it's
this
not
again.
free. Yeah.
Let me ask you this question so that we clear. Do you agree that Washington has actually shifted anything?
I do agree that because of the Washington Accord, there was a shift in a way that there's now a lot of pressure put on Rwanda. I don't think we can deny that. I don't think we can deny that. The progression of M23 on the ground was significantly slowed down. One
Slow
day they
down.
were already in Uvira. They're ready to. I'm not part of M23, so I don't know what's the plan, but they're ready probably to take over Kisangani and go down to Karemi and take
Okay.
over Katanga, whatever. That didn't happen, right? So
Okay.
you cannot tell me, like, in a pure factual way that without like bringing the pressure on Rwanda through America, it did not bring any factual and concrete change on the ground.
That's not my
So,
argument. My argument,
wait,
and
you
that's
asked
why I
me.
was
Wait,
asking you a
sorry. Maybe
question.
no. Sorry, you asked me how
Yes.
it shifted the situation, and this is my answer that I'm giving you. You can you
You said
I
yes,
can
it shifted.
in
That's your
that
answer.
sense, right? But
Okay.
you gotta put my answer, right? You cannot just say yes, it shifted.
I mean,
It
yeah, in
shifted
that,
in a
yeah.
sense where
Hmm.
it has significantly slowed down M23 progression, and by M23 progression, it's probably we,
Okay.
because that. Sorry, let me finish. Because
Okay.
M23 has shown itself as a murdering like machine. Maybe we have slowed down even more death, right? In
Okay.
Kalemi, Kisangani, or whatever. We had like 3,000 dead Congolese bodies when they took over Goma, right?
Goma.
If we can avoid that, that's a big win, I would say. Don't you think?
Okay. Uh, of course, always minimizing. The thing is, I don't want to speak about Congolese life in terms of casualty and numbers. I think one death is too much, it's too many. And I do think that the US has
100%.
all the tools.
100%.
Excuse me? Oh yeah. And I still think that the US has all the tools that it needs to not slow down the conflict, but to put an end to it. But there is a reason
To
why they're
stop
not
them
putting an
right away.
end.
Yeah.
Exactly. And there is a
Yeah.
reason why they're not putting an end to it. And what baffles me, and that's usually my conversation with you, is that many people don't see it. They want to take the win when it's not a win. Slowing down the M23 and asking them to leave 75 kilometers away from Uvira does not mean that the killing stopped. The killing or the oppressions are continuing in other places that are under Rwandan
Where they
occupation. Goma is
occupy the
still
lands. Yeah.
occupied, Bukavu is still occupied, Bunagana is still occupied. You still had 100 territories, and nothing in the Washington Accord actually talks about what would happen to those territories that are under Rwandan occupation. Are they going to
100%.
remain
100%.
under Rwandan occupation? Are we foreseeing an Eastern Republic of the Kivu or something like that? There is no defined or concrete answer to those questions. That to me is really worrisome because then you ask yourself, we're talking about peace, right? This is the Washington Accord that is supposed to bring peace between the DRC and the Congo and Rwanda. It's supposed to be peace to the Congolese people. But when we talk about peace within Congolese Action Youth Platform, within Friends of the Congo, and within other, I would say even international bodies, we look at the justice aspect of it. So that's why my question to you is like, okay, if you do believe that they have shifted something and you kind of clarified, but was that really the intent of the Washington Accord? That was not the intent when that senator close to Felix Tshisekedi reached out to the White House with in his letter offering critical minerals in
Mineral
exchange
against
for
peace.
peace. He
Yeah,
did not
that's
say that we want you to slow down the M23. He did not say that we want them not to come to Kinshasa because that would
yeah.
threaten our power suddenly. He said that we want peace in the Congo. And the Congo is not just Kinshasa. The Congo is not just Katanga. The Congo is
Everybody, like
2,345,000
kilometer
whatever
carré.
kilometers.
Yeah.
Exactly. All of that, all these 100 territories right now, and that was Lalusha who were providing the names of all the territories on the Rwandan occupation. That's the entire Congo. Someone from Goma is not less Congolese than someone from Kinshasa. So when there is a peace deal, that peace should also be felt by someone living in Goma. That peace should also be felt by someone living
Yeah.
in Uvira, right?
100%.
So
And again, Gaëtan, when you ask me the question, we can
yeah,
even go back in the video. You asked me if that agreement was was able to liberate the Congo? I said no. You asked me if the lands were no longer occupied by Rwanda. I said no. And you're asking me, so in what way did it shift anything? And I gave you my understanding. My point of view is
Yes.
like, I'm kind of what's the term again? I don't want to use the term practical because it means something else. But to me, anytime there's also a arm reduction, if I can use that to reduce like harmful events and whatever, I will take that as a win because
Okay.
so that's my whole point. So and without that, we would have seen. I don't know. We should not be using. We should not be playing with ifs. But without that, we would have probably seen worse than what we've already seen in Goma. I mean, let me remind the people listening to us right now that I believe there was an article published by it's like a Congolese journal. It's either okay.
Uh,
Good.
yeah.
Should I read the comment or because it's
No,
kind
no,
of
go ahead. Go
all
ahead.
right.
Just keep
All right.
talking. Yeah.
So there was an article by it's either Actualité CD and it was later confirmed by some reports, international reports. People, I mean, I have to double check that part, but people who came back after Goma was captured by M23, right? And they saw that the houses were taken away from them and
Yes.
fields taken away from them. But those were like active ethnic cleansing that we saw happening, right? So, and I remember, right? You reacted to one of my tweets. I mean, when I say like, as a Congolese, I will never, like, never, ever, ever accept to be a slave from Kigali. And by Kigali, I mean like the regime of Kagame. Again, if we have to be as clear as possible, it's not like a dig to Rwandans. I mean, most of them I have nothing to do with what's happening here. So I was explicitly mentioning the regime of Kigali, right? So to me, and to me, the reason why I am standing by that sentence, and because you came back with like, hey, what about being free? Being free, period. Right? I agree with that. I mean, nobody want to be a slave, let alone a slave of Kigali, right? To me, it's like because of the track record of ethnic cleansing, massacre that the different rebel movement backed by Rwanda have done in my country. This as I don't even before I wouldn't even now I don't think I consider myself as like a nationalist, whatever. I think it's a really bad. It's a dirty term that Congolese should probably drop. I understand what Congolese mean by that. Even when they bring up like Lumumba as nationalist, I don't think Lumumba was like a nationalist. If you take the definition of all those nationalist movements that brought
In the
fascism in
US.
Europe and
Yeah.
whatever, no, I think it's like
I agree.
we should probably use different term for the
Pan
sake of argument,
Africanist.
but
That's what I
whatever.
would use.
Yeah,
Yes.
but to me that puts in my heart this this sentiment of like, if I have to die for that my country to be free first of Rwanda, because as a Congolese person, as a Congolese citizen, as a daily Congolese citizen, like I mean, as a day-to-day Congolese who goes by their own life, going to the field, whatever, they only see that enemy. They don't see. I mean, maybe to the benefit of us who know the context, whatever, but they don't see like, oh, the international, global, whatever. The first person that I see with guns, shooting, raping the mom, taking the land, the first people that I see are RDF members, right? Slash M23. So to me, that's why I will always stand by that tweet. To me, I want to be free first of Kigali's like slavery, and then fight for tomorrow. I will always whatever by stand by that sentence. I'm kind of lost with my train of thought, but I thought about what was I trying to say again? Sorry, I got. I mean, that really
No, no,
put.
no. Well, while you think about your train of thought, let me add this then,
Yeah.
because you think that running to the US is good, is a win, and I'm trying to make you
Oh,
understand.
whoa, 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 buddy. Let's slow down. I said it slow down. the invasion,
You say it's a
that's a
win.
win because the reduction is we are reducing upon our country. In that way, it's a win that I will put on the win stack.
Okay.
Let's be concrete with that.
How
Start.
much do you think an iPhone 16 or 17 is worth? A brand new iPhone 16.
Oh,
Just
and
take a guess.
is this what 1600, 1700?
If I give you $500 for a brand new iPhone 16 that you're selling me, is that a big win?
I mean, I
Is that
can
is that a
finance.
win?
I can find. I'm just kidding. I can finance
I,
with class. Sorry.
no, I'm actually serious. Like if you want to sell me a brand new iPhone 16, 17, whatever the latest one is, and I'm offering you 500, is that a win
Yeah.
for you?
I mean, if we have to apply that comparison to the
No,
political,
no,
no way. I
I'm
mean,
not
you cannot
applying
give an
anything. Just answer
example.
my question.
No, yeah. I mean, you're not asking that question out of nowhere. It's based on
But
the
can you
the
answer
context.
that
So my
question?
answer is like, oh, by the way, I'm expecting you to give me those 500. So yeah, thank you, Gaëtan, for those $500. I'm gonna put that aside and save even more to buy that phone, right? So
So
that
you will
will be my
sell a
logic.
brand new
That
iPhone
will be my
17 at
logical. That will be my
$500.
logic. That will be my logical answer to you giving me 500 to buy my iPhone. I mean, oh, thank you. I'll put that aside and put save even more
Johan,
to
come
buy
on,
that.
bro. You're not just saying that just to be right in this conversation, just for the
I'm
sake
not.
of being right. So
I'm
you will
not. I'm
sell
not.
a brand new iPhone at $500.
Wait, you told me that what I heard is like you telling me you want to give me 500 so that I can buy a brand new iPhone.
No,
That's
no,
the
no,
question.
no. No. You have a brand new iPhone, whatever is it, the 16, 17? I kept
Yeah, yeah.
keeping track.
Oh, I am, and you want to buy
And
it
you
from me
selling it, and I'm giving you $500. Would you take $500
No,
US dollars?
no. Okay,
Why
I heard
why
different. I
okay,
just
why
want to
wouldn't you
understand
take $500?
because I mean, as the I don't think that example is actually accurate.
No, 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 no.
No, what do you mean? You
Why?
cannot
Why
give me an
would you?
example which doesn't match the
Why would you
political
not take
reality.
$500 for a brand new
Because
iPhone?
as a business owner, right? As a
Okay.
business owner, and I have my products, I wanna make I want to save. I mean, not save money, but I want to have benefits,
You want to
whatever.
make profit. You want
So
to
profit,
benefit. Okay.
yeah. So I'm
So
I'm
hold
telling
that thought.
you, I'm
So hold
telling
that
you,
thought then. For the
yeah,
case of the Congo, a Washington Accord was signed to provide or to bring about peace finally after 3 decades of conflict
yeah,
in the Congo to Congolese people. And
yeah.
you are saying that you are calling it a win, the fact that the M23 was asked to withdraw
My
75
God,
kilometers from Uvira. That to you is a win.
why?
Or for
No, no.
slow down
Where
the
people can go back
continuing
and listen to what exactly I
no, the
said.
continuing killing.
Yeah,
You said
yeah.
you wanted killing to slow down, right? But the killing
Oh my
hasn't stopped.
goodness.
Isn't
Oh
that what
my
you said?
goodness. I invite people to go back and listen to what I said because I answered to two questions. Is the Congo free? I said no. Are those lands still occupied? I said they're still occupied.
Okay.
I mean, those are on record in this video. And then you asked me the question. So what was the shift then? My answer was like the shifts, because I even brought up the political pressure on Rwanda that Rwanda has never seen before in the past, right? So
Mhm.
on top of that, I also brought the fact that because of the shift that we saw after the Washington agreement is the fact that the M23 has significantly slowed down in the progression of marching toward the rest of the country, where they would only spread death and destruction. So that would be the shift that I consider as a W on our stack of Ws. I mean, people can go back. I think I literally even said
Okay.
use those terms. So I don't think it's fair for anyone here to kind of take my nuanced answer and try to box me in a sense where like, hey, Johan said the Washington Accord is like a
No,
big
I
win.
was not trying to do
Understand?
that.
I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
was
saying
not
no, no,
trying
no,
to do
no.
that.
I'm not
I was
saying
actually
you.
I was
No, sorry.
genuinely
I'm not
trying to
saying you
understand.
per se, but I'm saying like
Yes. Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
want people to take my nuanced answer and try to like box me into because as someone who's now living in America, I kind of know. I mean, I don't want my country to be like dominated by America. I mean, think about the way
But
people
you
are.
okay with us running to
Sorry,
America and
sorry.
some deals,
Think.
right?
Sorry. No.
Yeah.
I'm just on the developer. All right. Think about the way health inequality is increasing in America in terms of everything for the big corporations and nothing for the rest of the population, right? Now, I mean, I don't want Congo, which is already in such a huge wealth inequality. I think it's definitely worse than what's happening in Congo. So if we now give all those corporations full reign in Congo, I think we might multiply our current situation by 10. But again, to me, and I would always bring that up, to me, it's like surviving now to fight for tomorrow. I don't think anyone can fault me or fault the people who are currently suffering from Rwanda's oppression. I don't think anyone can fault a young guy from Goma to have that thought. Surviving now to fight for tomorrow. I think that would be the theme of my I don't want to say ideology, but my position on this. You know, that's that's what I truly believe. But
Yeah. That's a really good point. But I was just trying to kind of like understand but I think you clarified that you want to survive to be able to fight for tomorrow. But at the same time, in talking about the pressure being applied on Rwanda, I always give this analogy. It's like if your father and your kid is doing um
by the way, your
uh,
analogy are great, but it's
yes, if your kid and if your parent and your kid is being disturbing, is being troublesome, you're not gonna consistently warn him that you're gonna slap him, that you're gonna put him in timeout, that you are going to punish him. You're not gonna just continue to announce that. You all depending on how you discipline folks, probably gonna give him a look, probably gonna say one word or a sentence, or just go ahead and act.
I
And
mean,
in the case of the Congo and the United States and in Rwanda, the US has so many laws on the book or in the book that can be applied if the
I mean,
US has the will to
you and I,
really
we know why,
sanction.
right? We know why because Rwanda. I mean, the I think that's been pretty clear that Rwanda, the special relationship that Rwanda has toward, I mean, the America has toward Rwanda. It's. I mean,
What is it? What is that special relationship?
they use Rwanda. I don't want to use the terms like puppet or whatever, but
Use it.
Rwanda.
It's unfiltered.
But Rwanda is literally like what's the term? Hand. Is the country that does dirty work for America in the overall plan of
So
extracting minerals
if
to.
Rwanda is
Wait,
doing the dirty
come
work,
on, man. Let
if
me finish.
Rwanda,
Let me finish the things.
hang on. If Rwanda is doing the dirty work for America, it
That
means
would
that
that would explain why America, even though
okay,
they have all the laws in the book to
yes,
punish a country that's violating
but
international
hang on.
law, whatever.
Yes, I get that,
That's
but
why they're
hang
not
on.
doing
To
it,
your
right?
point, but to your point, if America, and that's your word, if Rwanda is doing the dirty work for America, why do you think it will be uh beneficial for Congolese? Why do you think it will be efficient for Congolese? It will be even be sane or correct for Congolese to run back to the same masters that has hired
Yeah,
a proxy to oppress the Congolese people.
100.
That's
Okay,
the
that's a
logic that I
very
don't
good question.
understand.
Now, well, okay.
Yes.
I mean, a good question. And then again, I remember 2 years ago, I wrote this thread explaining how Congo, regardless of what kind of regime, whether it's like Tshisekedi, Kabila, or whatever, but how Congo can also try to have some influence or try to, I guess, appease the imperialistic force that America is. And to me, I was like, to me, it was kind of straightforward since Congo has a huge evangelical like presence in our faith arena, it would make sense for us to exploit that in order to have like the powerful quote unquote on our side, or because it's the real politics. I mean, you're not going to deny that we do live in a world where there's a strong and the powerful and whatever. The strong and the weak. When the weak is being oppressed, you have two choices, right? Either you continue fighting, and do your best to resist the evil imperial force, knowing that you might be crushed or whatever, or you decide because you don't want to see your population being decimated by those long wars, then you can think strategically, try to influence, appease, while you are building your own strength, or getting allies to fight back against the evil empire later in the future, right? So with that optic, that's why I wrote, and I even share with a lot of friends. I have a lot of friends in the opposition, whatever. Also, some friends who are from UDPS, whatever, and I share with that my opinion. Like, hey, if we want to have a fair shot, our army sucks. We have like the weakest army ever. The way our army fight is like 1920, 1930, or 50, whatever type of battle strategies. We don't have strong modern tools like drones or whatever. I mean, I guess until recently, but I don't think it has shown the level of success that we would want. So because of that, and because people are still losing their life, this is what I put on the table as a strategy to find a way to appease, or to find a way to have like the evil empire, right? To I don't know, slow down their destruction of the country or whatever. I'm not saying that it has been successful, but again, we saw some harm reduction after that, and I will take that as a win, because to me, you're right, one Congolese death is way too much, but and one Congolese life being saved is even better. You know what I mean? So to me, that's the approach that I will always stick with, and I will always like applaud those people, those Congolese like diplomats, whatever, who think behind boxes to find, because that's the role of a diplomat. Whether you disagree with the fact that they're able to infiltrate, to find themselves in the breakfast prayer, whether you agree with them, you have to. Whether you disagree with that, you have to agree with the fact that that was brilliant, I'd say, and in a way that it's kind of okay now. Even America's like, okay, fine, we've been screwing you for years, whatever. Okay, now we have to, I don't know, slow down. I don't know if you saw Trump yesterday or 2 days ago when the Angolan woman asked him that question outside the White House. I mean, you could see that Trump did not want to answer that question. I don't know, because she was like, Mr. President, you told me, right? You told me that you would bring peace with this accord. And then now Rwanda is like violating and whatever. She knows that Trump knows that. Trump knows that she knows that. But he literally just whispered, "Oh yeah, I'm going to look into that," and then immediately shifted toward another reporter. So you could tell that you could tell that, I don't know if it's we now reaching the point where even the evil empire is tired of the attack dog that is Rwanda. You know, like, okay, now they're kind of putting us in a bad shoes, because if Trump didn't care about optics or whatever, because he wants his Nobel Prize or whatever, so for him, we kind of have, to me, if I have to think a little bit like in terms of geopolitics or whatever, our goals are kind of aligned per se. You know, like, so we want peace. He wants peace not because he cares about Congolese life. I don't think he cares at all. But he wants to take that trophy and say, "Hey, I ended a 30 years old like war that killed like millions of people, displaced even millions more. So I deserve the whatever Nobel Prize for that. So but because he's also frustrated because he's not getting that, and he tried to portray the agreement as a victory right away. Like, hey, case closed. We got the agreement. Congo is free. There's peace between Rwanda and Congo. Where's my Nobel Prize, right? And the fact that the Angolan like reporter is always out there trying to remind him, like, hey, you told me there would be peace, but look at what they're doing. I think that's you could see like he's actually kind of fed up with the whole situation. I don't know if he's fed up. I don't know if his frustration is toward her as well for asking him that question in public or whatever. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe Trump can get frustrated as well. But I think he's definitely getting frustrated with the fact that, as you said, the agreement hasn't brought what they thought it would.
I think he spent much time criticizing what Christian Gerald said in that hearing. So what is one
No,
thing
no,
that he
no, no.
gets?
That's not true.
Yeah, we did. That's obvious.
I didn't
That's true.
because
We did not
again,
say anything positive about his speech, about what he submitted. So let's do that right now. So what is
which
one thing that he get right that Christian Gerald shared with
yo,
the
you tell
House?
me, since you
I'm
agree with his
asking you.
analysis.
I did not say that I agree with him. I said that he was partially incorrect, and and I set the frame of how would
Wait
I
a minute,
frame
wait
it.
a minute. I asked you a question as well. You didn't answer that
What
question.
question did you answer? Did you answer?
About at the beginning when you gave the analysis of Friend of Congo, the global whatever analysis, whatever, right? Which is correct. It takes in consideration the regional causes, the internal causes, the international causes with all the cooperation, American, whatever. And I ask you the question, well, for someone who portrays himself as a civil society, like activist, whatever, why on earth wouldn't he bring that up? And what does this say to you? Like, should we now should we think a little bit more about the motivation behind the framing that he had? I
That's
mean,
a question that I will actually ask him if I have the
what I mean,
opportunity to even
I've
invite him.
been asking all the
I
questions.
don't know what his
But
motivations are. Like I didn't even know until you brought it up in our conversation that he was a candidate to Moise Katumbi's. But I also think that was in 2018. People change their mind, especially given I'm
sure,
serious. People change their mind, especially
yeah,
after the
yeah, of course,
politics of
it
the
was 20
Congo.
years ago, right?
But I do acknowledge and recognize the work that he has done, that he has been doing, that he continue to do. Whether or not this
My
particular
friends,
statement, and it's
my
only
friend,
one, and it's
Gaëtan,
really
Gaëtan,
one or
Gaëtan.
two, three sentences in a
No, 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 no,
six, nine
Gaëtan.
pages.
It's all about the subtlety, the framing,
I understand that.
and the context, right? And the road to hell is always paved with good intentions. So
I,
you cannot
I
come, the same way we criticize Chisekedi for, because some of his supporters always come, oh, at least he has good intention. Who the hell cares about good intention,
I
right?
did not say that he has good intention. I said that we are analyzing what two, three sentence of 1 minute video out of what 9 pages that he submitted. And that's why I think it's fair and also important to also acknowledge if you think that there is something that he said that was right, even if people agree with that framing, what is that thing? I think it's important to talk about. I don't
I
want to
mean,
speculate
I
of
mean,
what his motivations
sure,
are.
I
I
guess
don't
let's
know
do
what
that. I
his
guess let's
motivations
do that,
are.
right? I mean,
So yeah,
if you wanna have a section of Congo Unfiltered to glaze on Giro, well, let's do it. let's do it. I think Giro was right to point out just like everybody else is doing. So I guess credit to all of us, credit to all the people who correctly point out to corruption in Congo. I think if you want to count that as positive, so yeah, sure, that's positive because it's the truth, right? I'm not gonna come here and debate on something that just because Lucifer said something that's right that I'm gonna argue for the opposite. No, I will never argue about the fact that Congo is. I will never make a case that Congo is not corrupt. I myself was victim, as any Congolese. We were all victim of the corruption in Congo, right? We were deprived from opportunities, whether it's in school, job opportunities for those who were who are trying to find a job, but because of the corrupt system, because of nepotism, because of tribalism, right? So no Congolese will give flowers to the Congolese government. Nobody will do that. So yeah, that's the positive aspect of his testimony. The question that I have for you is like, well, I mean, the question that some people ask, right? I
Mm-hmm.
debated a little bit. I also thought about it because someone was like, well, was that the correct forum to bring that up? To me,
Mm.
right? To me, I'm like, look, if a dad has been beating you, whatever, sexually arresting you, whatever, I think there's always um there's no such thing as no forum for you to bring that up. You know what I mean? You know what I don't know if you understand what I mean. Like nobody can silence Congolese people for calling out our corrupt government, no matter the
Okay.
forum, right? Right.
Yeah.
The question is, how do you frame that, and how do you put that within the overall context? That's the key.
Mm.
That's where, like, as we say in French, c'est là que les Romains s'empoignèrent. Like that's exactly what we have. I mean, that guy was subtle. The way he framed it, it was, come on, man.
Okay.
We talked about
And
all the context of the pressure that we have on Rwanda right now and whatever, and then the framing of removing the pressure away from Rwanda by
mhm.
not pointing out their driving force in today's situation. To me, that was a low blow, and let alone from a Congolese person. To me, I was really disgusted. I'm not gonna, since we're in Congo Unfiltered, I'll just give my opinion as I felt that day. I felt disgusted by this. But yeah,
He did say though, he pointed out the Rwanda ambassador acknowledging security cooperation with M23 as a sign of U.S. pressure. So he's I think it's not fair to say that he was kind of like hiding Rwanda's implication or involvement in the
my
Congo.
friends, words have meaning. Okay, words
Okay.
have meaning. Words have meaning.
Okay.
When you mainly say, however, Rwanda is not the driven force, right? To me, since okay, this is why I'm gonna get. I mean, I'm gonna get the Friends of Congo like analysis. When you say, however, Rwanda is not the driven forces, whatever. If you want to be as fair as possible, you have to bring then the international analysis, the part of the analysis, the cooperation,
Mm.
whatever. He did not bring that, so you cannot, not you, but you cannot come in this call and say, hey, at least he said the truth. Well, if he was motivated by the truth, he would have brought the entire uh, context. I
Mhm.
can lie by omission. It's still a lie, even though I'm saying it's a small part of a portion of the truth. I can still lie by omission, and I think if I have to give a resume of what happened, right? I wouldn't say lied, but he definitely omitted a big part of the situation in Congo. Yeah, the expert is biased, as many of us are in this situation. He's being a Moise Mansi has structured his thought around the internal system. Exactly. That's why at the beginning I wanted us to bring that up. You cannot think about this, Gaëtan. You cannot tell me not to think about his biases when one, he was on the Moise banner when he ran for Congress, and his position actually joins Moise Katumbi's position when in terms of the whole like Congress. So to me, you cannot prevent me from putting one and one together. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
that's asking too much out of me.
Yeah. And this is the part I really want to sit with as we are concluding because the civil
Oh
society
come
like
on! It's what do you mean we're concluding? It's only,
1 hour, bro.
come on, man.
I know
We usually
I
speak
know
for
you want
more
to
than
talk for
that.
hours, but no. I know you like
Well,
to
but
talk,
okay,
but
fine.
for
So
real though,
I have I think I have something else to bring up. It's
let
as
me ask you this question and then you can go
fine.
ahead and respond and
All right,
include that.
go
So
ahead, go
the
ahead.
civil society has a role, right? And we kind of like we have been discussing that. But when you testify in Washington, and you said that word has meaning. Your words don't just land in a vacuum. They land in the policy machine. That's
100%.
how, things actually become um, um, real. So, John, what responsibility do you think uh, Congolese civil society has when speaking to U.S. lawmakers? And then you can
So I
add
think,
whatever
yeah,
point you
that's
want
a
to.
very good, that's a great question. And to me, I would say this: you have to ask first of all a simple question as a civil society, right? Am I going to tell the truth, or oh, what's going on? I don't see anymore. Oh, is
Go ahead, speak.
there? All right, because I only see myself on this. Anyway, all right, not that. Yeah. So you have to ask yourself a question as a member of the civil society. Am I going to say the truth, the entire truth, right? Or am I going to dissect? Am I going to set aside some portion of the truth? That's your first question, right? And it's a very important question to ask because you have to understand that, as you said, you're being invited to give your opinion, and those opinions will somehow shape the U.S. policy, right? So you have to take in consideration the risk of never being invited again, but making sure that the one shot that you have will be sealed in the Congress archives for quote unquote forever. You know what I mean? So once you ask yourself that question, then you have to bring the entire truth, like by explicitly mentioning, as you perfectly said, right? The international aspect of the situation, the regional aspect of the situation, the internal aspect of the situation, because right now, with a biased analysis, the US Congress can run away with a narrative according to which America is not part of the problem. Corporations that Trump is going to bring are not part of the problem. The problem is not Rwanda. That's not driven the chaos in Congo. I'm talking based on his analysis, based on his testimony, right? So these are the policies that America got away from that testimony. You know, the fact that they're not part of the issue, the fact that the corporations that they will bring are not part of the issue, the fact that, well, the issue is not Rwanda because according to this smart Congolese unbiased civil society member, the driven force is not Rwanda. Then it's only the internal affair of the Congo. Great, let's run with this. Let's say the next policies of the United States is like, hey, we are no longer we're no longer going to put any pressure on Rwanda because your experts brilliantly demonstrated that the issue is mainly you guys, right? You have to fight corruption in your country. You have to fight all the weakness in your army or whatever. Fine. The country decided to do just that, leaving the invasion alone, letting them progressing um, across the country. And then what we're gonna end up with is having a bis repetita of 1997, like, again, a Rwanda-backed rebel movement taking over the country. Then I don't know, we're gonna have another 21 years of AFDL political reign like we did with Kabila, right? So how is that gonna even address the internal issue that Congo is already suffering? I mean, if anything, that's going to make it worse, right? Because we've seen already during the 2000 during the first all the I mean the terms of Kabila as president, we've seen how corruption was killing our country. I mean, Tshisekedi regime himself is uh, is following the same what's the term? It's following the same. Oh my God, my word! I have the word that I'm looking for. Proof, whatever. It's following the same model, right? Of the corruption and all of that. So the what I'm trying to say is like the policies that Congress got from this testimony by only focusing on Congolese internal issues will not bring the situation, will not fix the situation. It will not, because pressuring the country, rightly pressuring the country to fix our corruption, is not going to change the fact that Rwanda has a long history of trying to invade Congolese lands, ethnically cleanse those lands in order to put their population. That's not going to change. So our experts actually brought the wrong analysis. That's the point I'm trying to. Like when you look at the overall scheme of things, that's a wrong analysis, because it's not going to fix the issue that we're having right now. We have 7 million people displaced. We
How
have
do you
like,
keep accountability without surrounding external accountability?
say that again.
How do you
So
keep internal accountability without surrendering
that's a very
external
good question. To
accountability?
me, to me, I think what should have done. I think that's also. I don't know if it's part of the Washington Accord, but I don't believe it is. I think the United States should have also explicitly said, right? Like, I know it's not true, but as America is for law and order, I'm doing this because I know they're lying, right? As America is for law and order, and we respect the respect of constitution and whatever, we are not going to deal with the Congolese government if, for example, Tshisekedi changes the constitution in order to, in order to become president again, possibly in 2028. I think we should
But they
also
want him
have.
to change the constitution for different reasons. If you
Sorry?
read the accord, but they want him to change the constitution for different reasons.
Oh yeah, in terms of well, I think I saw one of your tweets. I think you
Yeah.
mentioned the fact that no, I did see the, I think it was a professor, a lawyer, who is suing the government in front of the Supreme Court, right? Because the case is trying to make is like is that
The accord
the
is
accord is
unconstitutional.
unconstitutional. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great, right? But again, my point of view is like, if
Mhm.
America was serious as well about fixing internal issues, right? They should have also made sure that whether Chisekedi or whoever's going to come after doesn't. What is the term? The term to express le glissement que Kabila a fait in 2016, right?
This one is actually really Congolese term. There's
Yeah,
not,
exactly.
yeah. So I
Sorry
don't
for
even know.
those.
Like, just prolong the term, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah. So if they were serious about addressing as well those internal causes, so those points
Hmm.
should have been brought up in our code as well, right? So again, his analysis, the way he framed it, is not going to bring any solution, as I just explained. But
Yeah.
yeah,
And I know you wanted to add something or say something. Maybe that's a good time to say whatever you wanted to say and
yeah.
wrap
Let's
up.
play some foretelling game or whatever. Let's put ourselves in the shoes of a prophet or whatever. So between now and 2022, uh, what do you think? I mean,
22 or 23?
2028. My bad. My bad.
Okay.
I know we're not God. We don't read the future or whatever. But according to you, what are we facing as Congolese people between now and 2028? Right? In terms of, I don't even wanna ask you about who do you think is gonna be president or whatever. But who do you think is gonna be like a major player for the 2028 election, and how that's gonna correlate with the situation on the ground, right? So I know
That's a
it's a little
good
bit too much to
question.
ask, but
That's a good question. Well, I do think that one, Congo is facing more and more serious uh, political instability happening in the horizon, just because
I
the
agree with that.
political class, the foreign government, the U.S. are not really tackling the root cause of the issue, like that term.
Root cause triggers me sometimes.
Yes, they're
Let's
not
go.
tackling the root cause of the issue, not in the way that most people have been using it,
Yeah.
because you don't bring peace by asking the M23 to stand out 75 kilometers from Rivera. That's not how
Okay.
you bring
I'm
peace,
glad
right?
you added the last part. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's not how you bring peace, right? You don't bring peace by essentially asking people to sit at the table while you are giving carte blanche. Right now, it seems like Tshisekedi is giving carte blanche because he's not asking or gathering to have a dialogue. He's not implementing or making sure that he's putting in place a governance or system governance that is truly going to be equitable, that is truly going to apply justice. So what we're gonna have in the next 2 years, you're gonna have more and more and more people that will feel disenfranchised. What's that term?
Whatever word it is, it's okay.
Yeah, that will feel oppressed to the point that they will have no issue taking weapons again. And at the same time that you have the US muzzling Rwanda, muzzling, or it's therefore consequently also cutting M23 funds, that still doesn't solve the internal issues happening. That still doesn't change the poverty happening. That still doesn't change the oppression, the injustice happening, that political opponents are being arrested for free speech, that people are getting killed, even in the capital, right? So I think things will continue to boil up, and that could be becoming even worse. And to your other question, in terms of who I think will be the political actors, I think because we're gonna have Joseph Kabila and Tshisekedi right now, constitutionally, unless the constitution is changed, they're out of the race.
Yeah.
That with no doubt, Moise Katumbi and Martin Fayulu will be the two big players of the next 2018 elections. I don't even think that we're going to have an election 2018. I think that things will be postponed.
Or we can still have
So
an
that's where we
election
are.
with
I 100% think,
part of the country still occupied,
yes,
like we did in
I
2022.
100% think that Tshisekedi will play the clock, just like Joseph Kabila did. 100% think
I
that
believe,
he has
I think
absolutely.
I think I would agree with that assessment as well.
Yeah,
I think,
and I think that President Tshisekedi right now, because of the way things are unfolding, he thinks that he has absolutely no reason whatsoever to have a dialogue, a national dialogue, because he doesn't want to share the power. He wants to continue to cling into power. And he doesn't want to associate people who also have weapons. So he's going to continue to do that. And but like I said, that is not going to solve the issue that he thinks will be solved, because internally he is going to continue to boil up the country of people that are going to continue to be upset to the
yeah,
point that they would think it's right for them
yeah.
to take weapons against their own country.
So
So
two
yeah,
things about this, right? I'm glad that you did not go with the already. There's a consensus out there within Congolese politics that Martin Fayulu might be the dauphin, as we say in French, the one who's gonna be the president 2028 or whatever. I think, I mean, I understand why people are saying that, because we saw Martin Fayulu at the national breakfast prayer, which kind of shows that maybe he's like getting buddy buddy with America in order probably to have some kind of support. But I think that's underestimating Tshisekedi's ability to always maneuver around his political opponent. We saw that with the way he was able to free himself from Kabila's jail, I mean, constitutional jail, during the first part of his term. We saw that again with the way he was able to trick all those political those members of the opposition. You know, when he welcomed them in the Union Sacrée, so he was able to weaken even more Vital Kamerhe. He was able to weaken Jean-Pierre Bemba. So I think we should not. If I were a top advisor of Martin Fayulu, I should probably tell him to, I guess, pay attention with that pattern. It's a pattern. He did it
yes.
in the past. He's going to do it
So you're
again.
actually asking Martin Fayulu to be careful with his
Yes,
alliance with Tshisekedi.
100%. That will be my honest, if I were like his top advisor, that would be my honest, like, advice and opinion about that.
Any
But,
opinion for Katumbi?
oh no, I don't
Or
think
advice? Any advice for Katumbi?
that's a good question. The advice that I will give to Maurice Katumbi is as I'm going to try to use some Congolese idioms. J'ai presque fini, Coco. Un instant. I'm going to try to give an advice in Lingala is like, Zongisa Yesu na motema, you know. And the reason why I'm saying this is like, a lot of Congolese people have been disappointed by the rhetoric coming from his political party. You know, you have when you have people like Martin Fayulu and Dr. Mukwege not joining Tshisekedi. I mean, I don't think anyone can give me an evidence that they joined Tshisekedi during this crisis period since the capture of Goma. While all of this was happening, for them, they were focusing on both sides, on both sides, like hammering the government when the government was either committing some I don't know, I don't think atrocities, but something related to lack of anyway, they were trying to get the government accountable, and at the same time to put the focus on Rwanda because Rwanda was the enemy in our borders. So that's what I believe members of uh, the political members of the opposition should have behaved. I don't want to police people way of behaving, but I think that's my opinion. But a lot of people, I think it's fair to say that a lot of people have been very disappointed by the way Moise Katumbi's political party has been behaving, downplaying Rwanda. We've seen people like Onyemba coming and say, "Oh, just because I saw a thief with a jersey of Barcelona doesn't mean it's a player of Barcelona, of FC Barcelona." I'm like, what the hell is this? It's this example. You know what I mean? Like, and we have like all those tweets that written by Olivier Kamitatu in English or in French when he's trying to gather the attention of the international community, trying to downplay Rwanda's implication. All of that, you know, that's why my advice for them is like, Bozongi Saye Sunamitema Nabino. You know, we are Congolese first, and
Bring people Jesus in your heart, in your
yeah,
heart. Yeah.
yeah, that's exactly what I would give him
Love.
as
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, John. That has been an
We should do
eventful
this even
conversation.
more often. It was pretty fun. My first time, and I really enjoyed it.
Yes, yeah, well, thank you. It was a really great to have a conversation with you. And I do hope to bring you back so that we can have a conversation, probably debate with other folks.
Oh yeah,
And yeah,
100%. Yeah.
yeah,
Thank you so much,
yeah,
Gaëtan. À la prochaine,
yeah.
okay? Take care.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That was Johan Mufuta, and really great guy, really smart. And he was giving me his point of view, his analysis of what's going on, the hearing, what happened. And I saw you kill in the chat. Peace to you and the Congolese Action Platform in General Cost. I think it's the kill that I know. But really, as a wrap up, what we know is what we know, what we don't is what we need to watch next, right? And what do we need to watch next? We need to watch how the United States frames peace alongside minerals access. It's very important, and that's the point that I was trying to get across to my friend Joanne, because those two tracks are really moving together, and they're supposed to be moving together. But what we see in reality is that one track is going further, like the mineral access is being effective. The United States is getting minerals as we speak. So the question, or the follow-up question should be, why does peace don't follow? Why we do not have peace? Why do Congolese people don't have peace? Why the Congo is delivering on this part? And what I was telling Joanne is that the peace that the Congo is asking is not an half peace. It's not withdraw from 75 kilometers away from Uvira. That's not the peace that the Congolese people want, and the Congolese people in their entirety, the entire Democratic Republic of the Congo. They want all territories to be free. They want to have controls of their own internal affairs, of their own lands and resources. So too, we have to watch the narrative coming out of hearing like this, right? Because Johan said that words matter. And he did argue that language, like, not the primary driver, Rwanda not being the primary driver of the instability in the Congo. Those type of language, or that type of language, shapes what policymakers feel obligated to do, honestly. And he said that he felt like the civil society represented today was unburdened Rwanda, or that the United States, and I probably might claim, wanted to unburden Rwanda because there is so much pressure on Rwanda right now that you need to help your kid breathe, give him a little bit of room to breathe. So what do? You craft a narrative that will not just condemn Rwanda. You also want to craft a narrative that will also condemn the Congo, or the Congolese government. Rightfully so, right? But Joanna was saying that the urgency right now is what's going on in the Congo, in the eastern part of the Congo, the occupation, the invasion, the killing, the rape, the mass displacement. That's the urgency. But as Friends of the Congo, we continue to remind the four dimensions of that oppression. The internal forces, which include the Congolese government, represented by Felix Tshisekedi's regime. We talked about the multinational that are doing everything that they can to make sure that the supply chain continue to flow. Elon Musk said a few years ago, we will coup wherever we want to get access to the coltan that he needs for Tesla. He said that we will coup, we'll however we want. We, as multinationals, being one of the CEOs of one of those companies that get Tesla, Cobalt, and coltan, he said we will remove to power whoever we want. Who is we? Antonio Guterres in 2008 said that the international community has consistently, systematically plundered the Congo. Systematically, the international community. So the multinational definitely plays a role. And on third position is the external force, led by the Anglo-Saxon countries, followed by the European Union. And then, like it was demonstrated or articulated by Johan, then you have Rwanda, who is a proxy. But Rwanda is part of what, as Friends of the Congo, we call the regional forces, those neighborhood countries. They are the to-go countries. If the US wants something done, they will go through Rwanda. They'll have Rwanda do the dirty work. Just like they have in Kenya right now, sending forces in Haiti. So when you understand that, when you understand those four dimensions, then you move into watching whether Congolese voices in DC, in the diaspora, at the EU Parliament, in London, whether those Congolese diaspora, those Congolese voices, even in the Congo, are building a consistent message that protects Congolese sovereignty. Not just stability for investment, not just the supply chain, not just the minerals, but the Congolese sovereignty, Congolese lives. And that is for today, Congo's Unfiltered. And if you're Congolese, don't let anybody reduce this crisis to a one storyline. If you're not Congolese, your role is not to save us, is not to save Congolese. Your role is to pressure your institutions and corporations that profit from this system, this very system. So until next week, I want to ask y'all to follow Friends of the Congo, give us some follows on Instagram, on X, TikTok, on Facebook, on YouTube. Like, subscribe, share this episode, and stay locked in, because what is being negotiated right now is not just peace, it's the future of the Congo. So thank you, and I will see you next weekend. Ciao.